Hello viewers, welcome to the online classes of Chaitanya deemed to be university. I am Ravikumar Vemula, a faculty in Computer Science and Engineering department. Today I would like to discuss the concepts of data structures. So we will learn what is the data structure, different types of data structures, the advantages, the disadvantages. So let's begin the class. Now, what is a data structure? Before defining data structure, let us define the word data. What is data? Data can be called as collection of raw entities, and basically data is unorganized. You need to process the data to get the information, and once you have information, that information will make sense. So whenever you are working with large amounts of data, then you need to store this data in the storage area of the computer so that you can perform the basic operations on those data. You can access the data in detail. So now we can define the word data structure as data structure is a procedure of storing and organizing data in a computer so that the operations on the data can be implemented effectively. So then the question is, what are the basic operations you can perform on the data? The basic operations are, we speak about insertions, deletions, we speak about searching, sorting, we speak about traversals and retrievals. Now stop for a second. What do you mean by the word insertions, deletions? Assume that you got a storage space, you want to store some data in the storage space, and you should take minimal time, isn't it? So whenever you say that you're performing a data operation as a student of computer science, you need to consider two factors. Factor 1 is the time complexity, factor 2 is the space complexity. Now what is the time complexity? It is the time taken to perform or execute an operation on that data. And what is space complexity? It is the amount of space required to store the data and perform the operations. So as a student of computer science, you need to optimize your time complexity and space complexity. That is, you should require minimal time and minimal space to perform the data operations, isn't it? So to insert data, to delete data, to search data, to sort data. Traversal indicates data movements. How do you go from one point to other point in data storage locations? And then is retrieval, the time taken to retrieve data. Let me give you an example. For example, when you go to a bank, the person in the bank welcomes you, and if you want to retrieve your data operations, he'll ask you one unique ID. He'll ask you your mobile number, or he'll ask you customer ID, isn't it? Once you enter the customer ID, it will, the application is designed to search the database of that bank based on that customer ID. So you're performing searching, isn't it? Now once the particular data is found, then you need to retrieve that data from that storage location to the front end screen. So any operation you do on data, you will be doing directly or indirectly these operations of inserting, deleting, searching and sorting, traversing and retrieving. So how best you can do them is all about data structures. The name says structures, data structures, structuring the data. Why you need to structure the data? The only answer is you need to organize the data so that you can perform the data operations effectively. Clear that? What are the advantages of data structures? We have some basic advantages. The first advantage of using data structures is abstraction. What is abstraction? Abstraction is hiding. Now what do you hide? We hide the implementation of the concepts. Now in data structure, we take the concept as an ADT. ADT stands for abstract data type, and this abstract data type provides a level of abstraction. Now what is abstraction? In the concept of abstraction, the client program does not know the implementation of the data structures. It only gives the inputs, it gets the outputs, but the functionality of the input to output is not known to the client program. So in this way you can provide security by using the concept of abstraction. So data structures are implemented by the concept of abstraction. Clear with that? Now going ahead, the next advantage is reusability. Once we have implemented data structure, then we compile this implementation and we store this implementation in a library, and we use that library in the required applications, and the client programs can use the compiled libraries again and again. So you can save lot of time by the concept of data structures. Once the data implementation is compiled, that compiled implementation is kept as a library file, a header file, a class file, whatever you call it, and these things can be directly implemented in your applications. So the beauty is it provides abstraction, it provides the concept of reusability. And next is efficiency. As we have different types of data structures, efficiency of a program depends on which type of data structure is to be picked up for your application. Depending on your application, you need to pick the specific data structure to optimize the time and space. So these are the basic advantages. We have many more in plenty, but I precise them into three parts: abstraction, reusability, and efficiency. Clear? Now let us learn the concept of data structure classification and how many ways you can implement data structures. It goes like this. So data structures are broadly classified into two categories: primitive data structures, non-primitive data structures. Coming to non-primitive data structures, we again have three categories. We call them as arrays, lists, and files. And lists are again classified into two more categories called as linear lists and non-linear lists. And we use linear lists to implement stacks and queues, and we use non-linear lists to implement trees and graphs. So we will learn them all in the upcoming videos, but for now this is the data structure classification. Please see the hierarchy of how it is being classified from the top to the bottom. We have two basic classifications: primitive, non-primitive. And primitive data structures are defined as the basic data types in any programming language. Now what do you mean by the word programming language? For example, we have C, we have C++, we have Java, we have Perl, we have Python, we have plenty of programming languages. In all the programming languages, we have the basic data types, which tells the compiler to allocate some predefined memory location, isn't it? So data types are used to tell the compiler to allocate some predefined memory space, and that memory space allocated should be assigned to the variable declared. So these data types can be called as primitive data structures, and all the operations that are performed on these data types are also called as predefined. Okay with that? Now going ahead, the examples can be int, char, double, float, bool. These are the basic or the primitive data types. Play with that. Now keep in mind, all the primitive data structures can directly operate upon the machine instructions, and they are architecture dependent. Please listen to the word architecture dependent. It means that the data type operations differ from architecture to architecture. We'll spend more on this topic in the upcoming videos, but for now keep in mind, primitive data structures can directly operate on the machine instructions, and they are architecture dependent. Now going ahead, coming to the concept of non-primitive data structures. Now what are these non-primitive data structures? These are the user-defined data structures which are complex in nature, and these non-primitive data structures are derived from the basic or the primitive data structures, and they emphasize on grouping same or different data, and these different or similar data items are grouped are having a relationship between each data item. So they emphasize on grouping items with relationship between each data item. So these are complex when compared to the primitive data types, primitive data structures. Now these can be classified into three categories. First one is arrays, second one is lists, third one is files. These lists can be again subclassified into linear data structures or linear lists or non-linear lists, and the next one is files. So these are the non-primitive data structures. Now let us learn about the concept of lists. Arrays can be learned later because that's a simple concept which you'll be learning as a part of your C language. But with respect to data structures, one important topic is list. Now what is a list? We can define the word list as list is collection of elements, and they can be used to implement both linear data structures as well as non-linear data structures. Fine with that. Now in list, each element is called as node, and a node has two parts. The first part is called as the data element, and the second one is called as the link element. So keep in mind, a node has two parts, the data section or the data part and the link section. So the node structure appears like this. The node structure has two parts, the data part and the link part. We use the link part to connect to the next node. Keep in mind, nodes are interconnected. So we use the concepts of nodes to implement data structures. And keep in mind, in arrays all the elements are stored in sequential order, so we call it as contiguous locations. But in concept of list, the nodes are not stored in contiguous locations and they are linked through pointers. I gave you that we have a data part and the link part. So as the nodes are not stored sequentially, they are stored randomly. So this random allocation are interconnected by using the link part with the help of pointers. Keep in mind, we create a node generally by using self-referential structures or classes. If it is C language, we use the concept of structures, generally self-referencing structures, and if it is CPP, Python, Java, we use the concept of classes there. So this is how we create nodes. Keep in mind, all the nodes should be similar in structure, and as the nodes in the list are interconnected, we call these lists are linked lists. So generally we use the word linked list. Clear with that? Now going ahead, what are the pros and cons of linked list? It means that when we use a linked list over arrays, there should be some advantages, and obviously every data structure will also have some cons. What is the first part? What are the advantages of using linked list? In linked list, the basic advantage is dynamic memory allocation. It means that you allocate memory to the nodes at runtime so that you can know how much memory is being used. And the beauty of using linked list is you can resize the memory. It means that depending on your requirement, you can increase the number of nodes or you can decrease the number of nodes. So resizing is possible. That's why we call it as dynamic memory allocation. And the other important beauty is the ease of inserting and the ease of deleting. In arrays, to insert a element or to delete element, on the worst case we need to perform n operations on a size of array n. But in linked list you need not do n operations. We take less number of operations. So the basic advantages of using linked list is dynamic memory allocation and the ease of inserting and deleting node elements. Now what are the disadvantages you find in linked list? The basic disadvantage in linked list is we cannot handle data randomly. In arrays, if you know the index of the element, you can access that randomly, but in linked list you cannot access the data elements randomly. You need to go on sequentially. That's the basic disadvantage. And now the second disadvantage is, as you are using the data element as well as the pointer element, you need extra space for creating nodes. Hence linked list needs extra memory space. And we have a concept of cache memory, and we use cache memory as an intermediate memory to help the processor access data fastly. And as we know that as the nodes in the list are not stored sequentially, as they are stored dynamically, randomly, you cannot perform the concept of locality of reference. Locality of reference is a concept used in the concept of cache memory to access data from the main memory. As the data elements in the nodes are stored randomly, it is not cache friendly. So linked lists are not cache friendly, hence locality of reference is not supported. Though we have these small disadvantages, still we use linked lists in plenty in implementing data structures. So that's for now. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you for now.